the flood, the serpent, the divine birth, the dying god, the sacred tree. These stories are not unique. They appear in ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, in Hindu scriptures, Norse mythology, Mesoamerican codices, and the Bible. The names change, the symbols vary, but the structure remains. So how did cultures divided by oceans, by centuries, and by language remember the same stories? Did they copy one another? Or are they all fragments of something that really happened? Something deeper than religion, older than writing, a memory, not a myth. The Bible tells of a righteous man named Noah, chose to survive divine judgment by building an ark. But that's just one version. In Mesopotamia, far older than the biblical text, Utnapishtim receives a similar warning in the Epic of Gilgamesh. He too builds a boat. He too survives the flood. He too releases birds to find land. In Hindu tradition, the first man, Manu, is warned by a talking fish, the god Vishnu, of an imminent flood. He builds a vessel, ties it to the horn of the fish, and is carried to safety. The Aztecs speak of Tata and Nene, who survive a global flood in a hollowed-out tree. The Hopi tell of Spider-Woman, who shelters chosen ones as waters rise. The Greeks recall Deucalion and Pyrrha, who repopulate the earth after divine deluge. Why does nearly every civilization have a flood myth? Maybe it was a real event, the end of the last ice age, when glaciers melted and seas rose. Or perhaps it reflects a psychological flood, the collapse of order, the need for cleansing, for a second chance. But whether literal or symbolic, they all remembered the water, and someone who survived it. A virgin gives birth. The child is divine. He is foretold by prophecy. His birth changes the world. This is not unique to Christianity. In Egypt, Isis miraculously conceives Horus after reassembling the body of Osiris. In Greece, Perseus is born of a mortal woman impregnated by Zeus in the form of golden light. In India, Krishna's mother, Devki, is guarded by prophecy. Her child is said to defeat a tyrant. Zoroaster, the Persian prophet, is said to be born of a virgin and announces a cosmic battle between light and darkness. In Tibet, some versions of the Buddha's birth speak of miraculous signs, a painless delivery, a lotus blossom. Even in Mesoamerica, Huitzilopochtli is born a mother who conceives him by touching a ball of feathers. These stories are not identical, but they are familiar. Why? Some say virgin births are just mythological tropes. Others believe they reflect something real, not biology, but divine incarnation, a signal that something entered our world from beyond it, not just once, but again and again. In Genesis, the serpent tempts Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge. This leads to exile, suffering, mortality. But is that the only way to see it? In Hinduism, the serpent is Kundalini, coiled energy waiting to rise. In the Garden of Dilmun, Sumer's paradise, a snake steals the plant of immortality from Gilgamesh. In Norse mythology, the cosmic tree Yggdrasil holds the worlds together. A serpent, Nidhogg, gnaws at its roots. In the Amazon, some tribes believe the serpent brings knowledge of healing plants and the spirit world. The serpent appears in sacred medicine, in alchemical symbols. In the staff of Asclepius, still used to represent healing today. Is the serpent evil? Or is it a symbol of transformation, the risk that must be taken to know more? And the tree? Perhaps it's not a trap, but a test, a symbol of awakening, of evolution, of humanity stepping into divine knowledge and facing the consequences of that light. He dies. He descends to the underworld. He rises again. Jesus is the most well-known version of this pattern, but he was not the first. Osiris in Egypt is killed, dismembered, and resurrected by Isis. Tammuz in Babylon dies and is mourned by his people before returning in spring. Dionysus is torn apart and reborn. Inanna, the Sumerian goddess, descends into the underworld, is stripped, killed, and resurrected. In Central America, Quetzalcoatl sacrifices himself in fire to become the morning star. The theme repeats: death, descent, return. Why? Some say it's agricultural. The planting of seeds, the death of winter, the rebirth of spring. Others see psychological depth, a map of initiation, ego death, spiritual awakening. But what if it's historical? What if someone or some group experienced death and returned? And the memory of that moment was too big to contain in one story. So it scattered across myth, time, language, until it became ritual, until it became symbol, until it became gospel. The deeper we go, the harder it is to ignore all of these stories. Divine births, floods, sacred trees, dying gods. They don't just echo each other. They overlap. Psychologist Carl Jung called these patterns archetypes, primordial images buried in the collective unconscious. They rise in dreams, in myths, in symbols, because we're all human. But some scholars go further. Mircea Eliade believed that myth encodes sacred time, echoes of moments when the divine touched the world. Joseph Campbell argued for the monomyth, one hero, many faces. René Guénon and Blavatsky spoke of primordial tradition, a sacred knowledge that predates all religions. In ancient texts like the Popol Vuh, the Rig Veda, or the Emerald Tablets, we see remnants of the same cosmology, a single source, a fall from unity, a journey toward restoration. Is this coincidence? Or are we seeing fragments of something whole? A civilization lost, a memory erased, a divine moment remembered in pieces. Imagine a mirror, whole, flawless. It reflects the divine. Now imagine it shatters. Each shard lands in a different part of the world. One becomes the myth of Isis. One becomes the Torah. One becomes the Vedas. One becomes Christ. Each piece reflects part of the truth, but not the whole. The war between religions may be a war between reflections, each one mistaking its piece for the entire image. But if we place the shards side by side, a pattern emerges. The same flood, the same tree, the same savior, the same ending and beginning, not identical, but aligned, not copies, memories, and what they remembered may not have been fiction, but revelation. History says these were separate civilizations, separate beliefs, separate gods, but the stories tell another tale. They whisper of a common root, a shared dream, a divine encounter, fractured, scattered, preserved in shadow. So maybe the question isn't, who copied whom? Maybe the question is, what are they all trying to remember? Because if so many people across time, across continents, across cultures, told the same stories, then maybe they weren't telling myths. Maybe they were telling the truth as best as they could.